one. We are going. Hello, Mr. Albert. This is Jim Lawrence here. Welcome to the world of amazing.
Hello.
Please put your hands together for one and only amazing Mr. Albert.
So I'm here.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm going to be talking about my books. This time I hope I can hear the questions.
Sure, please. And here is the thing. So the audience is here, people from all over the world, Spanish, Indian, British people. We got Anderson Cooper from CNN on the studios. We got Kaitlin Collins from CNN in the studios. And here we go, right? Now, the best part is that I want you to please initiate that particular conversation. So, what we are discussing today, please go ahead, sir.
Well, I figured I would answer questions, and this time I hope I can hear the questions because last time I was just filling dead air because I couldn't hear the questions. So
Okay,
I was just
sure.
guessing what people might want to hear.
Okay, so let's start it. Let's start your communication. Then we will taking the question from our audience. So please, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes, sir. So please discuss about which book, Ancient Destiny, Survivor, we are discussing today, and World War III, along with Lightning and Thunder. So first 10 minutes is for your Ancient Destiny, Survivor, and for ship. Yes, please.
Okay, well, Ancient Destiny Survivor is the fourth book in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it brings in some new stuff, new people,
Mm-hmm. Right.
in that uh, they go, 20 or 30 years has gone by
Mm-hmm.
since we sent colonists to colonize other planets in the near solar the near galaxy. We didn't
Right.
leave the we didn't leave the galaxy. We're still out there on the outer edges of the Milky
Uh-huh.
Way, but
Uh-huh.
we found some other habitable planets. And now, 30 years later, they discovered that another alien civilization that they came across had sent some robotic uh, ships to Earth, and
Mm-hmm.
they discovered there were radio signals coming from Earth. So
Okay.
that means somebody's alive. So they
Okay.
decide, so they
Uh-huh.
go back and they discover it. Yes, some
Mm-hmm.
people down in South Texas survived the initial impact that happened on the other side of the world. Most of
Exactly.
the world is dead. There was a small ice age, but
Mm-hmm.
southern Texas was warm enough that they survived.
Oh,
And
okay. Uh-huh.
and because there was a lot of oil fields down there, and some of the survivors were familiar with refineries and so forth, they got a
Thank you,
refinery
sorry.
running.
That was the thing. The audience is taking and gripping the thing. Yes, sir. Please continue. Yeah.
So, and they managed to repair some roads because even though they were a long ways away from the impact, there were still earthquake damages. Actually, there's one of the
Mm-hmm.
characters in that fourth book that
Mm-hmm.
one of my good friends read the other three books and loved the three
Mm-hmm.
books, but he said, "When you
Mm-hmm.
write and he said you didn't finish the story."
Yeah.
So 5 years later, I finally wrote the fifth book. Uh, it only took it only took me 6 weeks to write the first three books,
Right.
but then people were demanding that I finish the story because I didn't finish the story in three books.
Okay.
So five,
Right.
so 5 years later, I finished the story, and one of the heroes in the survivors is that friend of mine under a different name, of course, but he could recognize himself from,
Mm-hmm.
and he had prepared because he was too old to go on a colony ship,
Mm-hmm.
so he did whatever he could, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a multimillionaire.
Right.
So to provide uh, fuel for his fortress he built, basically,
Uh-huh.
uh, he literally bought fuel tanker trucks,
Uh-huh.
which nobody wanted anymore because they knew the end of
Exactly.
the world was coming. So he
Uh-huh.
buried them in the ground, and he connected all his buildings with tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And then as people discovered that he had survived along with his family and his workers, they started getting other people coming and saying, "Hey, can we move in with you?" And it
Yeah.
actually, when they were watching the big asteroid hitting Earth, from what they could
Mm-hmm.
see on live TV,
Right.
he had built a movie theater
Mm-hmm.
in his home actually that had
Mm-hmm.
a couple of dozen seats, and they
Right.
were all bolted down really good with seat belts. And so they watched whatever they could on live
Mhm.
TV before the live TV failed. Uh,
Exactly. Uh-huh.
and they survived. And then they got other people from nearby city of Houston that discovered that they were out there, and they
Exactly.
came looking for help. And they at the meantime, some of his people were going into the city trying to find survivors.
Got
So
it.
they ended up with survivors, and they ran out of room, but they ended
Mhm.
up sleeping in the tunnels that he had built to connect all the buildings with each other.
That's
And
amazing. Uh-huh. Don't share the
and
climax. That is the teaser for that. And now let's talk about your ancient destiny ship part. Yes. Which is the first part, I believe. Yeah.
okay, yeah, ship is the first one.
Yeah.
Uh, Basically, it's a college student that
Mm-hmm.
goes to sleep in his dorm room, and he wakes up on a spaceship,
Oh,
and
very
he
incredible.
he wakes up, and there's a window right by his bed, and the bed is the only furniture in the room. But
Right?
when he looks away and when he looks back, there's furniture starting to appear in the room,
Mm-hmm.
along with a big stripe all the way around the room, a colorful stripe.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he figures, well, this is a dream, obviously. So he turns over and looks out the window, and there's the Earth circling down below him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's wondering what the heck's going on. And this disembodied voice answers,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, Captain Craig, I hope you like your accommodations. What's this Captain Craig bit? Says, well,
Okay.
I've selected you as my next captain.
Uh-huh.
Previous captains were people like uh, the great scientists of history,
Mm-hmm.
Pythagoras and all those people, and more recently,
Nicole Tesla, Elon
yeah,
Musk. Yeah.
he's one of the more recent ones was Tesla, and he
Mm-hmm.
said he was talking to space people and getting his ideas from space. Well, he was, but he was captain of the ship. However, everybody considered him a nutcase because he was trying to push technology beyond where it could go at that point in time.
Exactly.
And
And what
so,
about your World War III, sir? Please share the glimpse of World War III.
okay, well, we're going pretty fast here. Uh, World War,
Exactly.
yeah, World War III was originally written as a term paper for Air War College, which is
Uh-huh.
48 graduate semester hours with the
Mm-hmm.
military.
Right.
And in the second semester, they said, write a term paper on what you think the Air Force should concentrate on.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we're going to have a war in the Middle East. And Air War College rejected it because we would never send tanks and troops to the Middle East. Surprise, that was in 1986. So in 1987, I wrote the book, World War III. It started with EMP. I originally called it Price of Peace. And it quickly became a war. A friend of mine was in charge of
Exactly.
creating a war game,
Uh-huh.
and Schwarzkopf and pals, those famous generals from the Gulf War, attended the war game 1 weekend a month for 9 months before Saddam Hussein attacked Kuwait.
Oh, very interesting. Now, here we have the audience. One of
So,
Australia. He's guy over here, right? And he wants to ask you something, please. So here you go. He has some questions. So he is going to ask you. You can answer him, please. Here we go. You please take the question from Mr. Albert. Hello, Albert. How are you?
pretty good.
Well, my question is that what thing motivates you to become an author from a military person?
Well, first of all, I wrote that term paper for Air War College, and they didn't believe me. So
Hmm.
I wrote a book, and it ended up being a 500-page book. Uh, about
That's
World War
perfect.
III and how World War III is going to occur and how it's going to finish. And things I invented in the book were drones. I had in part as part of my career a few years before that, I had justified the financing for GPS, Global Positioning System. Uh, I'm not an engineer, but I learned what it did, how it worked, and a receiver for GPS would not fit on a battleship. It had to be an aircraft carrier that had a big deck just to fit the receiver on it. So, so they had a a aircraft carrier deck size receiver and six satellites. Well, that's not a whole GPS system. And they ran out of money and they couldn't convince Congress, why would we want a GPS? Well,
Hmm.
original purpose of GPS was to track aircraft carriers.
Hmm.
And I wrote a 30-page paper to Congress explaining how we would make it a military
Well,
slash
that's
civilian
perfect. That's perfect. So
system.
my next question is that what message do you want to give to a youth like us who wants to join military? Is it a good place to like go in and like be a military person like yourself? So just like walk us through like how is the military life and what military life have you had and what made you change become a totally different person like from civilian to be a military person.
I'm not totally different. I wrote manuals on basically I invented the desktop computer. They existed, but nobody was using them. So what I did was I had users using they were buying different kinds of computers all across the country, and logging into a mainframe computer, and I was using a Commodore 64, which is before IBM, before Apple, not really old computer.
That's
Uh,
amazing. That's amazing.
and so everybody started buying personal computers to be able to use on that mainframe system to speed up their work. And I didn't know how to operate all these different computers. I didn't know what kind of software they needed to be able to work on a mainframe computer. So,
So the
so
thing is that what technology
I
we
just
are actually using or seeing right now nowadays, you have already used and seen it like decades ago.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided that IBM compatible computers would be perfect because IBM had given up on the individual computer race. So they'd given it up to Commodore and Apple and Osborne and Texas Instruments and Radio Shack and all those other people that were producing personal computers. And they gave up and said, "Here's my design. If you want to build one, build it to my specs, and it'll be IBM compatible." And it doesn't, and you don't have to pay for my rights. So that meant anybody in the world could build an IBM computer. And
Hmm.
since I needed to sell it to the computer people in the military, they're very familiar with IBM. So when I said I want to buy an IBM personal computer,
Hmm.
we went out and bought 100,000 on the first contract.
Wow.
And the second contract was a couple of million. And then the third contract, anyway, you've heard of Gateway Computers. They got their business started because they got one of the early contracts for those computers.
Hmm.
Dell Computer, which is real popular these days, got the third contract and the fourth contract for all those computers I was buying. And the first four times
Hmm.
and the first four times the government bought computers, they had to have my name on the request for contract.
Hmm. Well,
And
sound good. Sounds amazing.
yeah, so after the fourth purchase, now we had millions of computers, and our contractors that worked for the government were also getting, office computers. And everybody was buying IBMs because that's what I said on the contract. Now, some people went out and bought Apple computers, and that's how Apple graduated to be a Macintosh, where they got
Yeah,
better
that's true.
software
That's
so they
true.
could compete with IBM.
Yeah,
But
and by the time as the
before,
time passes, they actually gradually upgraded and they upgraded with the technology and they keep up to date with the new
right,
things.
yeah, so Apple Computer, some people say they're a lot better than IBM today. But back when I wrote the contracts, the Apple Computer had a green screen with yellow print, and they
Hmm.
didn't have no graphics. The only sound they had was a beep, beep.
And
And my Commodore 64, I could
so
actually give,
exactly. So here is the thing, Tim. Once again, we have another contestant who wants to ask you a question. He's all the way traveled from India, right? And he's here. I'm going to translate right on his behalf, okay, whatever he's asking, because he will be probably asking in his local language, okay? So please put your
Okay.
hand together for Gandhi. नमस्कार, आप कोई फिल्म बना रहे हैं?
Okay, waiting for a question.
अच्छा, आपने किताब बहुत अच्छी लिखी है। So basically, he's asking you, sir, that is he expecting any upcoming movie from these books?
I hope. I hope.
Okay.
Uh,
Please
eh,
share that how many production and movie cinematic people have established a contact and you got the contract. Please share with our audience, please.
well, I have been contacted by a whole bunch of people,
Right?
uh,
Uh-huh.
but right now it seems like, but they didn't come through. Um,
Okay. Uh-huh.
they promised me lots of money, and they're going to have all kinds of expenses and so forth. And it really sounded like a good deal for me until all of a sudden they turned around and asked me for money, and I didn't have any money. I
Right.
didn't have that kind of money.
You know,
Uh, I
he's
just
actually, yeah. So he's
I
probably
just
asking you the second question that, with the respect, he call you that, that, sir, yes, what is the one of, please mention any one of your most favorite story of yours. Any top favorite of yours. Yeah. That's a
okay.
secret. Mhm.
Well, my favorite is Lightning and Thunder.
Okay.
Um, I wrote that in honor of my wife.
Mhm.
I, I fell in love with her when I was 12 years old, but I didn't know where she was or what her name was. So
Okay.
I, so 14 years later,
Uh-huh.
I thought she might be from Arkansas because her brother was wearing an Arkansas shirt when I
Uh-huh.
first saw them out in California.
Right.
And so when I came back from the Vietnam War, I
Uh-huh.
could select a base I wanted to go to, and I picked a base in in the state of Arkansas,
Oh, I
and I
got it. Uh-huh.
moved to Arkansas, and I moved into an apartment building in downtown
Uh-huh.
Arkansas,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and I was told there were three college-educated young women my age living in the apartment building.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I did the first two threw themselves at me because I was an Air Force captain.
Okay.
They did.
Uh-huh.
The third one, I was standing out on the balcony on the second floor. It's one of those apartment buildings where they have a balcony that goes the whole length of the building with a stairwell at each end and one in the middle. Well, at the
Exactly.
stairwell in the
Uh-huh.
middle,
Uh-huh.
only two doors down from me was the third girl that I had not met, who
Uh-huh.
never came to see me like the others did. So
Okay.
I went down there after midnight to watch
Uh-huh.
the lightning storm with her,
Right.
and I was standing behind her when a flash of lightning was really, really close with a boom of thunder immediately, and she backed up into me and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there."
So today's podcast is, unfortunately, our time is off for today, and the audience will be here for today. So please catch, and yes, you will be seeing his upcoming contract with the biggest movie production houses in whole United States. He has recently signed up. So today he's going to disclose that. And for the rest of the story, stay tuned. Do subscribe his channel. Do purchase his book so you will know the new narratives from Mr. Albert here. Please put your hand together for Mr. Albert. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your amazing time, sir. Thank you.